Hello everyone, and welcome to Noodle Journey, your destination for detailed and informative reviews of the instant noodle universe. Today I'll be reviewing an interesting little product from Ottogi, snack ramen. Before we get started, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. Now, if you watched me before, you may have noticed that I tend to complain about small noodle portions because you have to either eat more than one for a meal, or you have to add a lot of your own stuff to get it out of the snack-sized category. But here's a product from Ottogi specifically marketed as a snack. Is this worth buying over a full-sized product like their gin soups, which I love? And what flavor is this exactly? Because it kind of looks like gin. We'll find out together. Ottogi markets this as a fast and convenient meal. It only takes 2 minutes to cook. They get their cooking time down by putting super thin noodles in this that obviously cook faster than the chunkier gin noodles. I have seen this available in both cup and pillow pack form, but I just have this pillow pack in my possession for review. And this version is priced around $10 to $12 for a 5-pack, depending on where you buy it. And you can score the cups for about the same price for a 6-pack. But there are some other things I want to point out regarding price and serving size. Ottogi's gin ramen packs also cost about $10 to $12, but that's for a 4-pack. So buying the snack ramen is like 50 cents cheaper per package because you get 5. But this pack weighs only 3.8 ounces, while gin clocks in at 4.2 ounces or so. So it's a trade-off. More servings at the same price, but smaller portions. So once I taste this and go through a proper review, we're going to need to discuss the pros and cons of the price and portion size compared to its larger gin siblings. But wait! Comparing this to gin isn't exactly an apples-to-apples comparison. See, you'd think that maybe this is just a smaller snack version of gin, but it's not. This is a different recipe entirely than the version of gin that Ottogi distributes in America. Gin mild and spicy exported to America do not contain beef extract, but this does. Gin exported to America contains oyster sauce. This does not. If you import the version of gin from Korea, it does contain beef extract, but the American version of snack ramen is still a different recipe than that import is. I know, this is a confusing rabbit hole, but this is all to say that if you kind of expected this to be just spicy gin soup powder in here, that is not the case. So let's check out the vitals on this pack. Here's another surprise. 860 milligrams of sodium in this, so don't expect a snack-sized serving of sodium. This is pretty high considering what a small package it is. Now inside is a square block of the thin noodles I mentioned earlier, and a single soup packet that also contains the dried flakes. So there is beef and vegetable extract in this, plus seasonings like soy sauce, mushroom powder, and red and black pepper. The dried ingredients in here include soy protein, carrots, and seaweed, but get this, one of the ingredients is listed as seasoned beef. So does that mean pieces of actual beef in an exported product? Like, holy shit, this is a big deal if that's what's in here. But the real question is, will I be able to tell the difference between any beef and soy protein? So let's get this cooked right away and find out. All right, and here we go. So even though this is a smaller portion of noodles, it still calls for 500 milliliters of water for the broth, which is pretty much in line with similar Korean varieties to this. So you get the same amount of broth as those, but less noodle weight. What I'm getting mostly is beef and seaweed aroma. You can see lots of flakes of seaweed in here, and I am looking for the promised soy protein and or beef flakes, and I'm not seeing them. Pretty sure I saw them while they were cooking, but all right, I'll have to go digging after I taste this. So let me do that and see how this is. Okay, I'm going to edit out the several minutes it just took to find just one of these little beef and or soy protein flakes, which means there's really not a lot of them in here. All right, finally, let's start with the noodles. So while I like Ottogi's thicker noodles in general, these are not bad for being whisper thin 2-minute noodles. They're about the same gauge as something like top ramen, but they still have some good bounce to them, despite how thin they are. And while I generally like thicker noodles with a beefy broth, it does kind of defeat the whole concept of a 2-minute snack ramen if these take twice as long to cook due to thickness. So these are decent. I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10. And now let's talk about spiciness. I mentioned in the ingredients list that there is red pepper in here, which I thought, since this is Korean, probably means chili pepper, but you never know. It could have meant bell pepper. No, it's chili pepper, now that I've tasted it. It's really not that spicy. It's definitely on the milder end, but it's there. I can feel it on my lips and the back of my throat, just a tiny little bit. So I think this is worth at most a 2 out of 10 for spiciness. And so the overall flavor and quality of this, it's pretty nice. It is comfortingly salty. There's a good smack of beef and vegetable and seaweed flavor. There's your usual trio of soy, onion, and garlic flavor in the broth, which is just right. The couple carrot chunks I found while I was digging through this are decent enough and rehydrated well. But boy, those beef and or soy protein chunks are just MIA. So that's extremely disappointing. You know what this mostly is, honestly? It's an elevated version of Nissin or Maruchan beef ramen. That's basically it. It's a nicer broth, it's got nicer flakes in it, but at the end of the day, it's just an elevated version of that. So there's nothing super remarkable about this to make it stand that far apart from other similar beefy soups, other than that the noodles are slightly better and the broth is slightly tastier. Pretty good, but slightly forgettable. I think this is worth a 6.5 out of 10 overall. And if I go digging through here as I'm finishing my lunch, and I do find those elusive beef or soy protein chunks, that may change this score for the better. We'll see. I'll add it to the text of the video if that's the case. If you're specifically seeking out a snack-sized beef soup that cooks fast and is better than, top ramen or instant lunch, then you probably want to try this. While I don't think this product does enough to really stand apart from the crowd and isn't really that much cheaper than a full-size pillow pack, it is tasty enough and it's inoffensive. So I may or may not buy this again if the mood strikes me. Maybe if the sodium was lower, I could be happier with this as a guilt-free snack, but it is a full meal's worth of sodium with less noodles. So if the smaller portion size or the thinner noodles appeal to you, that's awesome. Enjoy. All right, enough talking. I'm going to go doll this up a little bit since it is my lunch and it needs to be a little more filling for me. If you do try this, leave me some comments and let me know what you think, and if you truly do find this a satisfying snack. Hope to see you next time on Noodle Journey.